Hello guys, welcome to my YouTube channel. It's me again, Kingsley, your data buddy. Okay, today we will continue on our beautiful series, Lucas Studio for Data Analysts. Today we will dive deep into the beautiful features in tables. The table chart in Lucas Studio is one of the most used charts in Lucas Studio. And today we are going to dive deep into all the features that makes table an amazing chart. Guys, you know how we do it. Enough of this talk. Let us hop into my computer and we do it our way. All right, so we are on the interface of Lucas Studio. This is our data source. Right now I have supply chain as my data source. So today we will work on table charts in Lucas Studio. To get your table charts, there are two ways. You could come here on Insert and get Table. Click on Table here, or you could come on Add Charts and pick your table. So this is a dedicated tab for charts. Now on the table is the first visual here, or the first chart. So on table we have the first normal table, and then we have table with bars, and the next is table with heat map. Let's start with the normal table. So I click on it and then click anywhere I want. The table is pasted. So I will expand it. Now by default, Lucas Studio goes to the data source that is connected and pick up a matrix, mostly record count, and then an order ID if there is any, and set up a table for us. Because this table is not going to be empty, so it has given us this. Now and it's also numbered it. So let me collapse this. So we have order ID and we have record count. So I'm going to take away this record count because we don't need it. So I removed it and now cannot remove order ID. Check what happened. I'm going to bring back the record count. So when we have the record count, I could actually delete the order ID. If I remove the order ID, the record count, I cannot remove it easily. That's because the table cannot necessarily be empty. So let's go in and add some fields to it. What do I want to start with? I will start with states. All right, so let's go to state. State is a dimension, so I put it in dimension. Here we go, state. The next is, let's pick up, okay, I like segment. Let's pick up segment. So you can add as many fields as you want. Let's pick up another one, like things like product name. I have my product name here. So these are the fields I have picked for my dimension. I could also pick more. I could pick from here, or I could come here and pick. Click there, add more dimension. I'm not adding any more dimension. Let's go and add matrix. So this is matrix. I don't want this, so I'm taking away this. Let's start with sales. That's a popular one. Drag and drop it. Okay, so let's add profit from here. So I'm going to type it out. That's an easy way to pick up what you want. Okay, so I have profits and I have sales. Now let's do a little formatting. Ordinarily, when I want to organize my columns, I could just come to the column divider and organize it the way I want. I will just collapse it that way. And here I have this, can arrange it the way I want. But if I want to, move columns, multiple dividers or multiple fields at the same time, I need to hold my shift key, then go to any of the divider. And as I move them, they all move together. So see, and that's it. How about if I want a kind of evenly distributed divider? Every color will have the same width. So let's go in here, right click here and come to resize, distribute evenly, and here we go. It is giving us everything distributed evenly, and that makes more sense. That's it about organizing your columns or your fields. If we go further and right click, here we can see select table on page. Here we can see select. So I can't select tables on this page. I can cut, can copy, paste special. This paste special allows us to paste style only. Now imagine you have you are done formatting your table and you want to create a new table, you don't want to start all over creating that, so you can actually copy and paste the style on that table from the table you had already done. You can also duplicate, you can delete, you can order. Notice we have order here and we have sort by. This order had to do with what should come first, where we have different layers of information at this on the same interface, which should be in front and which should go at the back or like a background. This is where to move it backwards or forward. Unlike this sort, which allows you to sort your data in ascending or descending order or alphabetical order, depending on what you want. Currently, this data is sorted by states. So let's move on. You can reset and you can export. If you click on export, you can actually export to CSV, CSV Excel, and Google Sheets. Okay, so that's how easy it is with this table. Okay, so let's move on to the next level of formatting our table. On this property panel, this is property panel. If I want to collapse this property panel, I would just come here, click on property, and it is collapsed. I want it back, I will bring it back. So why is it there? This is so handy so as to help you create more space for work. So currently I don't have use for this data panel, so I will just click on data and it collapses because I want to concentrate on the property panel. So up here you will see that I have a chart, which is the selected chart, the table that I selected. I could change it clicking on it and I pick any other charts, but I am happy with what I want, so I'll leave it there. Below it we have setup and style. That is style. This is setup. Let's pick them one at a time. Let's start with setup. Below this setup, we have data source. And the data source I'm connected to right now is supply chain. All right, so I could also decide to get another data source, connect to another data source by clicking here, and you will see all the other data sources. Now on this supply chain, notice here you will see that it is a Google Sheet telling you where the data is coming from. The next below it is data blend. We have extensive and very comprehensive video on data blending, so you could check that out in the series. Let's move downward and see. So I have date range. This allows me to create a date range for my visual or my charts, especially this table. Now here we come to dimension. We have dimension and metrics are mostly the fields from the table that we are working on or from the data source we are working with. These are the dimension we have, and this is state, segment, and product name as we see here. So I can arrange it. If I don't want states to be there, I want states to be under, I can drag it and drop it. It's so simple. I can move products to the top or segments to the top, whatever you want. You can actually achieve anything you want. From here, I can add more field. Now let's move down to drill down. Some visuals don't usually allow you to drill down. But if any of the visual that allows you, you will see this here for you to enable. As soon as I enable this, the drill down actually starts. So what really happens with drill down is I have 3 columns here, 3 fields here. Imagine if I have 7 of them, it becomes kind of difficult to really make sense out of them. So drill down helps us to give you one dimension at a time and what the matrix it's talking about or what the matrix looks like on that particular dimension. So let's go and enable it. As I enable it, it picked up the first dimension as a default one. As it picked it up, that's what it shows us here. And as soon as I enabled it, I have one new field here, one new icon here, which is drill down. So it's asking me to drill down. When I click on it, it takes me to the second segment, the second dimension, which is segment. When I click on it further, it takes me to the third dimension, which is product name. I could also return back. Now I can also decide to I don't want states to be my default measure when I drill down. I want it to be segment. So when I click on segment becomes the default. So by default, what you will see is segment, but you can actually drill down. Notice segment is in the middle. So because it's in the middle, it means I can go up or I could go down. So if I go down, I have product name. If I go up 2 steps, I have my states. But if I have to choose a dimension to be my default drill down, then it's only common sense that I should move it at the top. And that makes more sense. So when I need to drill down, it goes straight down. When I move up, it takes me to where I started. And that's how easy that is. So let's move on. I'm going to disable this. This is metrics, and with this metrics we have sales. So let's find out what we can do here. This is sales. By default it's giving us sum. Profit is also giving us sum. I could also change this sum to average. I can also rename it. I can rename it sales of products. And as I renamed it, you see it here and you also see it here. So I click out and then the name is sales of products. I could also say I don't want profits here. What I want is just give me the standard deviation or give me the median or give me the variation. Whatever you want, you pick. Fortunately, you are also limited to what you can actually choose. You can only choose what is here. Okay, so let's move on. I could decide to add more metrics to my work. So say I want to add profit margin. Good. So that's profit margin. Add it to my work and it will show here. That's a way to add more metrics. Could also have optional metrics. What does optional metrics do? Let's enable it. So it allows us to add, okay, so let me add optional metrics so that you see it in action. I'll add discount and I'll add, let's add something like quantity. Let's type it. Good, quantity. All right, so I have optional metrics. As soon as I enable this optional metrics, you see a new icon, optional metrics, come up here. Now, this is so handy as it gives the user the chance to add more metrics to their work without actually going down here. If I change this to view mode, this is view mode. So with view mode, the users are not going to have access to the data source, but they have optional metrics here. When they click here, they are able to choose the metrics they want. They could add discounts and it will pop out here. They could actually remove any metrics they don't want. They don't want sales. Okay, so I just want only profit margin. And that's what we have. That's how simple this is. Okay, so let me go back. I want my sales back. Not really interested in this. And edit mode, back to edit mode. Okay, so I will click here so I can have my property pan. All right, so let's move on. That's it about that, and it's a very handy tool. Here it's pagination. It has to do with this here, showing you the number of pages and the range of page we have. For here, this pagination says we have from 1 to 100 at a time. You can have more than that. You can have like 250 at a time. You can have up to 5,000. But if you want something custom, you can go to top end and decide to have only 301, which is not available in pagination. And you go, here you go, you have it 301 at a time. But as you have that, you no longer have that arrow that pagination gives to you. So it depends on what you want. If you have chosen top end, then that's actually what you want. No need for the arrow. So let's move on. I will move it back to 100. So 100 is fine. Okay, so I can actually sort by default. This is sorted by product name, but I want to sort by sales. So I want to click here and sort by sales products. That's the name I gave to it. And here we go. I could also sort it in descending or ascending order. I can bring in a new field and sort by it, sort by profit, ascending order. As soon as I have it, what I have here is sales of product is 1. That's the first sorting. And then the second sorting is profits. Okay, so let's move on to the next one. So we have date range. We're not working on that. So this is filter. So imagine I have a certain kind of thing I want to do. I can apply some filter, come in here, add, click on it, add filter. So I want to add filter. I want to include only data that where sales, so I'm going to search sales. Where sales is, all right, so I want to choose sales less than 1,000. Where sales is less than, all right, so I think I want to choose like maybe 500. 500. Where sales is less than 500, so that I will understand what the performance is like. All right, so I noticed that these are the ones. I have about 8,104 where the sales are less than 500. I could go in and edit my filter and say, all right, that doesn't make sense. I want it less than 100. Let's see. Okay, so we have about 5,000 of them. And here we go. This is it, less than 100. You can do whatever you want to do with this setup, with this property panel on the setup. Okay, so that is it on the setup for table. Let's go to style. Let's make our table look better. So on style, we have like chart title. Do you want chart title to show? You enable it. And of course, you give it a name. You can name it product sales. Maybe product sales report. So I have a name for it. Then because I have a name for it, I could then start formatting it. So is it too much? Okay, so let's make it 20. And do you want it to be, do you want it bold? If I want it bold, is there. What color do I want? I want to choose maybe this blue. See, it's looking beautiful. Do you want to underline it? Can underline it or make it italics, whatever you want. Do you want it to be left centered or right aligned? So if I want center aligned, so you see how it looks. So let's move it backwards. So where do you want a button? Do you want it under? Do you want it up? Where do you want? This is just for flexibility. Okay, so let's move on to conditional formatting. So you can add conditional formatting to your table. Let's see, I can add conditional formatting. Single color. Okay, let's work with single color. You can also add multiple color. So single color, I'll select a field here. I want state, where state is equal to Texas. What do I want? What color do I want? Okay, so color and style. Do you want the entire row to be colored, or do you want a certain field to be colored? So I want the cells to be colored wherever there is, wherever you see Texas, I want you to color the cells of products. What do I want it to be colored? I want kind of the text to be whatever it is. I want the background to be, I'll give it this darker blue. Okay, so the font, let's keep it at black, and I'm happy. So this is how it looks like. If I want it white, that's how it's going to look like. I think the white is better. So I will save. Now you see, very interesting. I love this. This is beautiful. So wherever we see state is Texas, and wherever state is Texas, give us blue. Give us this background, this green background and the white text. And I love this. It's so beautiful. So that's what we can do. That is conditional formatting. You can also do a whole lot of things. Do you want to show, this is text, this is table header. Do I want to show it? When I click on it, it removes it. But why wouldn't I want to show table header? I want to show it. I want to show the column, the names of the columns. Do you want to wrap? So sometimes you want, your text are so long, you want to wrap them. So this helps you to wrap them, but no need for that for me now. Show field description. Okay, so I don't need this. Let's move on. We are still on table header. What do I really want on this color? What color do I want on my table header? Let's pick a color. I want something lighter. So that's my table header. And the font size, I want it to be 16. What kind of font do I want? Choose whatever you want. Arial is fine. So the table color, what do you want? You choose here. What table color do you want? So you can choose red. So that gives you the color of the column, but I don't need anything, so I'll keep it transparent. See? It takes away everything there. But if I want that color back that was there, I can just reset it and we have it here. We also have this. So when I click on blue, we have the line, the borders, and that depends on what you want. You just choose what you want. I would prefer this. Good. I like it this way. So do you want your even or odd row? Do you want anything? If you want a certain color on the even, so you can make it this way. You can see everywhere it says even odd number, it gives it this beautiful orange color. But I don't want it, so I'm going to reset it. So the same for even rows too. So let's move on. Table label. So this is table label, and that's more like the text inside all the tables. So if I pick a color here and give it, it gives me the color I want, and that's not the color I want anyways. And you can also change the font. You can change the font size, you can change the font type. Okay, so this is the body. Row number. Do you want this row number by the side here? I don't want it, so I'll disable it. It's so annoying. So height also, do you want it to automatically create a height? So, and if you click here, it will tell you more. Rows automatically adjust to fit their contents, except when frozen or in horizontal layout. But I think it's a nice feature here. If you don't want it to remove it, but I think I like it. You can also wrap your text. So when you wrap your text, it also automatically adjusts. So this and this work hand in hand. I think I want it this way. I don't want to wrap my text. So let's move on. If you want a horizontal scroll, you can enable it. So if I want that, having enabled it, as I adjust this, you can see my horizontal scroll. But you don't need it now. When you have multiple rows, when you have multiple columns, it will come in handy. So let's move on. This is table footer. What do you want on the footer? This is it. If you want a comparted pagination, you can enable it. You can do a whole lot of things. What do you want for your missing data? Do you want the missing data to be null, to show a hyphen, zero, whatever you want for your missing data? That's what it will show you. Do you also want it to be blank? And you have to be careful what you want for your missing data. Okay, so on this, let me expand this. So we have this. This is dimension one, which is this. This is dimension one, which is this. So do I want to make it, which is this? Do I want to make it left or right aligned, center aligned? Depending on what I want, I could have it that way. Just depending on what you want. And the same thing for all the other dimension. The same thing with matrix, however you want. This is my first matrix. If I want it by the left, right, center, just depending on what I want. I think it's okay by the right, the Excel way of having numbers. Okay, so this is compact number. If I click on it, so not looks like nothing happened. If I want decimal numbers, 2. Okay, so I don't want any decimal number, 0, and that's what we have there. Okay, so if I leave it also, then we have this, which is okay. So when you come there, and that's compact number one for this, depending on the number of fields you have here, you will have all this. So, and this is it. You have each field has its own compact number. And you can also work on the background of your table, of your border, and you can also add border shadow. That is it about tables in Lookout Studio. Thank you.